Hello everybody, back again with another review video, and today's review is over the DC Multiverse Cyborg. And I do not have a single Cyborg in the collection, so I'm very glad that they finally came out with another one. So let's get right into it. Start off with packaging. As you can see, looks like you're going to get his gun and just a typical display stand, which I'll get into further along in this video. And then it is 12 plus, just like every other figure. 22 moving parts as well, just like every other figure. And then here on the side, Cyborg from DC Rebirth. And on the back, you're gonna get some pretty cool artwork. I actually really like this. I like all the different colors that are used. And really just has that Teen Titans aesthetic to it, and just colors and details in general. So I actually really like this art. It's kind of different, especially with the colors it actually uses. And then this side, just the basic, I guess, box art that's been used time and time again. And if you are searching in store, here is the barcode, although it is easy to purchase online already. That being said, let's actually get right into the action figure. Starting off, the first thing you're going to get is the typical display stand that we see time and time again. Regular DC logo in black, 1 foot peg, and being pretty thin, just like normal. Next thing after that is the actual card. Same art that's on the back of the box, Cyborg, DC Rebirth. And for those who may want to read up on the actual character, here is the back. Feel free to pause the video in order to do so. And then the next thing included is the actual gun attachment. We've seen this before in a different color and with a different figure, but right now it is kind of like a silver color or metal color. It's very nice actually. They added kind of like some black wash to it to make it look like it's been worn, beat up, battle damage. So I really like that. That's something they need to do more with some other characters, and there's definitely a lot of detail going on here. And it is a very thin and light plastic. It's not like heavy at all. Definitely does feel cheap, but at least there's a lot of detail and nice paint application to go along with it. And then here is the figure, but starting off the bat, I'm going to show how to put on the gun. So actually you need to remove the hand, so therefore you don't do the same thing I did behind the scenes. We're just trying to stick the hand in there, and then it gets stuck, falls off, and then it's a matter of basically banging it or trying to stick your fingers in and get it out. But you're just going to take the hand off like so, and there you go. There is the gun. And yes, there is an actual slot in order to put his hand through and make it stick like so. And then if you were to bend it down, it does kind of try to fall off, but right now it didn't. As you saw a few seconds ago, it did. So it's just a matter of trying to really get the balance and stay on there, because it doesn't seem to be the tightest. At least, yeah, it doesn't seem to be the tightest, even though it seems like it's decently on there now. So maybe just try to push it in a little more, or at least until the point where it's not falling off. But starting off the bat, it's definitely a very nice figure. And as you saw with the gun, it has that black wash to it. Well, it's no different here on the figure. I mean, look at that. You can see kind of like the weathering and really just realistic paint job on it. It's definitely fantastic. They need to do this with a lot more figures in general, and this really just takes this figure to a whole different level, new aspect that we rarely see in McFarlane figures. You just see it all over. I mean, look there, and the diaper seems to be less because it seems to be a little more of a kind of what's it called, the glitter silver to it compared to the other areas, so it's not as noticeable there. But on the legs, definitely makes the legs look 10 times better. Even all throughout the boot, it just makes it look so much more realistic. It's all over and consistent. Even here on the back, you've seen kind of sometimes when McFarlane doesn't really continue it onto the back, but here they did so. And there's even some black to kind of make it look a little more battle damage, although that could just be, you know, some mistake. But I feel like it definitely adds to the figure, even if it may be a mistake with some of the heavy black areas. But there's definitely a nice black wash going on it, make it look worn, actually look realistic. So that's fantastic to see. And then the face sculpt, I mean, Man, this face sculpt is phenomenal. There's just so much to say about this figure already, which is a good sign. Just all the detail going on, the nice 50-50 split between the cyborg side and the human side. The red eye also looks fantastic. There you go. There's just a lot going on. I mean, all the detail really gives a cyborg impression. I said cyborg almost. But yeah, it definitely gives a cyborg impression. It's just phenomenal. Even kind of on the black, you kind of see some worn areas or just some paint application that was done to make it look worn. It is phenomenal and probably one of the best paint applications, at least through this year, on a figure. I mean, you can just sit here and literally just like admire this figure right off the bat. And for the price point, they definitely put more effort in a figure with a cheaper price point than they've done in some collector edition figures. Enough admiring the figure. There's definitely a lot to admire, but let's get into the articulation. When it comes to the head, nice side to side, not too loose. Actually, I take my statement back. Seems like it's a little tight here. Recently, I had the same thing go on with another figure I reviewed, so that's kind of strange to see, but it seems a little tight. Not tight, but not too loose here. And it's almost like once you turn it to this side, it gets a lot more loose. So that's kind of weird that that's like two figures now that have been recently released in which that's happened. So that's just something to always consider. And when it comes to looking up, that's about as much as you're going to get here. Not much at all. Looking down, not a whole bunch, but at least a lot more reasonable of an amount. And then when it comes to the T-pose, here you go. Perfect. The shoulder pads don't get in the way. And that's one complaint I've heard some people say, is that the shoulder pads aren't really needed. And I partially agree. It's not too accurate at all, and it's a little too over detailed, and I think they could have done just as good of a job, especially with the paint application they did. Those were not needed, and they could have taken it off to save at least some plastic on the mold. And then when it comes to the 360, this is when the pads actually get in the way, and probably would have been better to not include them. But there you go. You can do it, but it does require some adjusting of the plastic. And when it comes to the bicep, here you go, you get a bicep cut. It's a nice movement, not too tight and not too loose. Elbow articulation, there you go. And when it comes to the wrist, full movement, 360, going down, go down about this much, and go up this much. So there you go when it comes to the arm articulation. And then the upper torso, full movement there. Does feel a little loose, it's not like too tight, and based on the design, kind of makes it the ab area kind of like stick out a little bit, so there's not really a way to adjust the midsection at all like some other figures, besides moving the upper torso. But at least it's not like super loose, but it is kind of loose compared to some other figures. And when it comes to the actual waist, full articulation there. Bicep crunch, there you go. Then once you bend it back too much a little bit, it does kind of show some underneath there. Forward, not too much because of the fact that the ab area does kind of stick out towards the top, but that goes along with the design. And when it comes to the splits, there you go. It was a little tight there, but you can get him to go and do the splits. Just about that much though, and other than that, it's probably pushing it. But then when it comes to the actual knee, here we go, let's try to get it there. Doesn't seem like it really wants to budge for some reason, so let me try the other leg. There you go. You can get it to go all the way, but it definitely is tight and does particularly seem like it could potentially break if you do pull too hard, and that's the reason why I didn't continue on with this leg. So this may be one you may want to actually heat up before messing with the articulation to avoid any breaking of the leg. And when it comes to twisting the leg, there you go, full movement, go down about this much, and then go up about this much, so pretty great when it comes to at least going forward and up, and then perfect toe articulation just like every other McFarlane figure. Now let me actually get into my final thoughts on this figure. I know there aren't awards given for McFarlane figures, but honestly I think this one could take the cake for the best paint application of the year. I mean, all the battle damage done by the black wash really gives it that realistic look to it, and definitely is the best, and I mean best, paint application on a figure this year by far, and definitely beats out a lot of the collector edition figures, which you would think they would spend more time on and give it a paint application just as good as this one. And when it comes to the face sculpt, they did a great job on the face sculpt. I mean, look at that detail, how clean it is as well. This is honestly growing on me. I feel like it might be one of my favorite figures of the year. And yes, there are many figures that probably I could say that about, but this one really takes the cake from a multitude of areas. Yes, there are some bummers, just like some areas that aren't the best articulation wise, such as here on the midsection, and just because how it's designed, but that's not really a big issue to me. And it does partially suck that maybe there's not more accessories, but I feel like the paint application really carries this figure and makes it worth the price point. That's pretty much, there's really not much bad about this figure, and I definitely would pick it up if I were you. That being said, that is going to wrap up today's review. If you did like this review, please like, comment, and subscribe for more future content. But until then, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.